everybody. Okay, so if the lighting and everything looks a little bit different, it is because I'm in my own room this time instead of my sister's room. And I've been having trouble thinking of things to say. So I decided I'm just gonna tell like my opinion on stuff that I like. Now maybe that's a pointless video, but if you wanna know anything about me, I figured that would probably be the best way to tell you. So, this time I'm going to start with video games because I have a whole lot of them that I play, and I probably would have to split that up a million times anyways. But I'm only going to tell a couple. So, the first thing that I thought I would bring up was I found, well, actually I didn't find it. My uncle found it and he showed it to me. One of the most interesting and disturbing things I'd ever seen on the internet before, and it was over Final Fantasy VIII. And it was like a what's it called? I guess it's a blog over what the game actually meant. And one of the people believed that the game actually was about death, like the whole thing. And most people, when you think of Final Fantasy VIII, you think of Squall and Rinoa and the romance between them because that was most of the game. And that's how I had always believed it was, too, and it was one of my favorite games. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, since I first played it, Final Fantasy VIII was always my favorite Final Fantasy. And of course, 7 and 9 were close, because those three are the ones that I really like. But, that aside, in this, it talked about how, at the end of the first disc, you're fighting the sorceress, or whatever, and the idea was, or what the whole blog thing was about, was that at the end of that, he died. Only the whole rest of the game, the concept was that the whole rest of the game was his process of dying. And it seemed like it was a long time, but it actually wasn't. And they gave a lot of examples, because it is true that at the very beginning of the game, Rinoa didn't really notice Squall very much, and she openly admitted that she had had a relationship with Seifer, who was Squall's rival. So you notice though, after the end of the first disc, when all this happens, suddenly Seifer is completely a bad guy with no thoughts about Rinoa, and Rinoa doesn't think about him at all, even though she had said before that she was in love. Also, all of the kind of weird stuff started happening after that. For instance, the Moombas, the little things that were red, and even though they were the cat-looking things, they could talk, and Laguna taught them to talk. You meet them, you find out that Laguna was the one that taught him how to talk or whatever, and also what's it called? Garden Master, the big Garden Master thing, where there's this torn allegiance among the Balamb Garden students, and they had to pick a side, either with the Garden Master or with Cid, which had never even been brought up before. So a lot of the story from then on seems to just come out of the blue. Also, a lot of the really weird stuff, like I said, started happening. However, if that's the case, it never explained why before the end of this one, you were already seeing Laguna in the dreams. So I think they tried to push that off as a reason, but it really isn't. So also, one of the points that they gave was that the end boss, the final boss or whatever, there was a part of it that you were fighting Griever, which was the thing that I think it was attached to his sword. No, it was the ring. The ring that Squall always wore had Griever on it, and that made them question how he could have known that Griever was a GF. Which also, when you beat Ultimecia, she says something about how the dream can't last forever, or something like that. I don't know the actual words. I beat the game, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Anyways, so they believed that that was the end where he died, and then the very end where, you know, the happy ending thing was actually him going to heaven. Which, when I read it, it made me really, really sad. I was like, no, that can't be what that game meant. What happened to my happy ending where everybody gets together with the people they should and everything? But at the same time, think about it. That is a really, really interesting way to explain that game. Anyways, if you've never heard of it, you should really look it up. Also, just as a little side note, I don't know how well it will be, but I'm going to try to make a music video, and I've never done it before at all, and I don't have any instruction on how to do it. But I think I may be able to figure it out. So I'm going to try to put one of those up here pretty soon. Not really, really soon, because, you know, I haven't even started making it yet, but I'm going to try to make it. And if you watch any of these, then you can watch my music video, and that would be really cool. So I was actually going to talk about more, but this is already over 6 minutes, so I think I'm done, and I will have to break it apart because I can't help it. When it comes to video games, then I have a lot of opinions about them. Anyways, so watch, comment, you know, the whole shebang. That would be awesome, and talk to you later.